Hello, I'm here, top of Church Street, Primark, Bold Street End on this very busy, noisy, windy afternoon. You'll have to bear with me for any noise in the background. Once again, out of my control. I was waiting for the violinist to have a break. I think he may have had one before I came up, but never mind. There's a religious activist behind me as well, so no problem. You see, walking around again our Cherry City Centre, I'm coming across cultural change, right? That's there for everyone to see. There's no one now that can say, where Joe, what are you on about? Everyone knows it's here. Everyone knows it is changing the face of our Cherry City Centre. Long-standing proud Scouse communities, Scouse schools, they are being changed. There's no ifs or buts about that, right? It is happening, right? There is a change underway, and if it's not stopped, like I've said, long term this poses a threat to our unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity. You see, like I've said before, too many new arrivals are coming into the city with different nationalities, different cultures that are not compatible with other groups that are coming into the city with different nationalities, different cultures. They're not assimilable, compatible with them, but incompatible. So they're not even going to assimilate with other nationalities and cultures, let alone their Scouse hosts. So all that can happen, well, will happen, right, is the universal Scouser will emerge. That will belong to different nationalities and cultures. Not a Scouse culture, right? A completely different one. A universal one, like I've said, with many nationalities and cultures. Now, that can't be good for our city's long-term. Our long-term cultural survival, if that's the word for it, here in our city. It can't be good. It can't be good at all. How can it be? Right? Bear with me, it's getting rather busy. So, once again, that's why we must oppose further cultural change, because if we don't, what is on the way? The obvious cultural change, but what will emerge from that is the universal Scouser. That will belong to many nationalities and many cultures, right? Not a Scouse culture. Long term, that will be disastrous for Liverpool as a Scouse city, right? That's obvious, ladies and gentlemen. That's obvious for everyone to see. And that's why we need to oppose further cultural change. It's not me having to go with anyone, I'm delivering the awful truth, I'm afraid. Right? The politicians don't want to deal with. They just want to pretend it'll go away and everything will be hunky-dory. Well, that's not happening, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, the complete opposite will be happening. Long term, we will lose our unique Scouse character, traditions and cultural identity. The original Scouser, us, will be replaced by the universal Scouser. That will belong to many nationalities and cultures. Do you see where I'm coming from? I hope I made that clear. So, that's why it's not in our city's long-term interest for further cultural change, right? It's not in our city's long-term interest. It's not in our children and grandchildren's long-term interest. They're going to be competing with those children, grandchildren of new arrivals with different nationalities, different cultures, that won't be embracing the Scouse family. In fact, the complete opposite. So that's why we must oppose further cultural change. We do it at election time. Find a candidate reliable, credible, oppose to further cultural change and give them your vote. Be short of that, ladies and gentlemen. You can see, you know what's going to happen. You don't need Joe Owens to spell it out. It's obvious, right? It is obvious what is going to happen. In fact, it's happening now. We've watched it happen right across Leicester, London, Birmingham and many other places that have lost their once unique status, character and identity. Our cherished city centre is losing its Scouse status and identity more and more. Each time I venture into our city centre, one can see what is happening. Bear with me, ladies and gentlemen, it's really getting busy. So that's why I feel a need to come down here to Liverpool city centre and deliver the awful truth to the good people of Liverpool that politicians don't want to deal with, don't want to talk about, and just want to ignore and leave our city, its culture, its heritage, history to the mercy of cultural change. We can't let them get away with this, ladies and gentlemen. Right, we must oppose further cultural change. And like I've said, demos, marches, petitions, arguing with the police, confrontation with the police outside hotels where migrants are, that's not going to solve anything. Right, the same sellouts are still in power. They're quite happy with that because they know it achieves nothing. You just let off a bit of anger, some will get arrested, and you demonise the cause you're pushing and trying to get across to people. You just make it worse, right? You've got to get behind a candidate, reliable, credible, opposed to further cultural change, and give them your vote. I just hope Reform UK can keep it together from now to the general election, right? Because they're the only party I can see at the moment, not perfect, but Christ, it can't be worse than what you've got now. This isn't stop, ladies and gentlemen, honest. Trust me, we're in big trouble. Long term, this will be disastrous, right? This will be disastrous for our city, Scout schools, our cherished city centre. Everything we hold dear, ladies and gentlemen, will go. It'll change. And as I've said, it'll be replaced by the universal Scouser with many nationalities and cultures. That is not a Scouser in any way, shape or form. It's a universal one. You can see him. You can see the new universal Scouser. It's all around. Right? It's not me making it up. That's why we must oppose what's happening to our city. This is an outrage. It's shocking. What is happening? We don't stop this, our children will curse us. Right? We have to oppose what is happening. See, don't forget, new arrivals, once they're in the driving seat, they're giving nothing back. Right? Look what's happened to London, ladies and gentlemen. Look what's happened to Leicester, Birmingham. I mean, they're big cities, right? And look what's happened to them. They have been changed beyond repair. There's no cultural rewind. It's finished. No button to press, cultural rewind button. It's not happening. We can't let our city get in such a situation. That's why we must stop this now while we're still in the driving seat. Right? And we can well do that because we're nowhere near in a position some of these poor places are in. Right? In fact, the complete opposite. We're well and truly still in the driving seat. Let's make sure it stays that way. The only way it's going to stay that way is you vote out the ones, politicians, Ian Byrne, Refugees Welcome, MP for West Derby, Dan, the diversity man, MP for Bolton. You've got to vote these out because they're aiding and abetting the cultural transformation of our glorious city. You see, like I've said, Jones has got no malice against anyone. I don't care what nationality, what culture, what colour. What I'm on about is too many are coming in that aren't embracing our ways, beliefs, values, standards and imposing theirs over ours. That's no good long term. That's my beef. It's not against individual people, right? It's against what is happening, ladies and gentlemen, right? And that's why we must oppose it, right? While we can, we're still in the driving seat. We can still oppose this, we can stop it. If we leave it too late, it'll be a tipping point of no return, like what's happened to these other poor places. Like I say, there's no cultural rewind. Finished. Look what's happened to London. It's beyond words, our capital city. Different place. universal cockneys prevail. There's no cockney there, there's just stand-ins, replacements that are universal, all different nationalities, all different cultures. We can't let this happen here in our glorious city, right? We just can't, ladies and gentlemen. We don't have the right to pass this down to our children and grandchildren, right? That's why we must oppose what is happening. Like I've said, once new arrivals are in the driving seat, everything dances to their tune. I'm going to go now, ladies and gentlemen, because I've more than made me points, and I don't like to dwell too long repeating myself, but this is serious what is happening to our city. It is very serious. And that's why we must oppose further cultural change before new arrivals are in the driving seat. And it's the end of our city as a Scouse city then, right? Like London is a Cockney one, Birmingham is a Brummie one, and so on and so on, right? I'm going to go get a coffee now, ladies and gentlemen. Hope I didn't go on too long there, but this is serious. Remember, say no to cultural change, yes to Scouse pride, shout it out loud, Scouse and proud. Okay, thank you.